Welcome to your personal development journey. This is a path where you can grow and learn about yourself and the world. Often, we rush through our days just trying to get by. But what if you could make each day a chance to learn and improve? In this exploration, we'll examine 5 important abilities that can help you in your journey. These are not just skills, they are ways to live that can make your life richer and more fulfilling. Each ability will help you face challenges and embrace new opportunities. Let's start with the first ability. The ability to absorb. Think of yourself as a sponge, ready to soak everything around you. This skill will help you get the most out of your experiences. Are you ready to begin? Let's explore these 5 abilities as part of your journey in personal development. I like to call them the 5 abilities. First on the list is the ability to absorb. This means you need to soak up information like a sponge, just like you're doing today. When I say absorb, I don't mean merely hearing words. It's vital to pay attention to everything around you. Don't overlook the atmosphere, the colors, the expressions on people's faces, and the overall scene. You must take in all that life has to offer. Most people are simply trying to get through their day, often lost in their thoughts or distractions. But here's what I want you to commit to. Learn to extract something meaningful from each day. Don't just pass through time, actively engage with it. Allow each day to teach you something valuable. This is what I call joining the University of Life, where every experience can become a lesson. When you commit to learning and absorbing, you open yourself up to endless possibilities. Imagine how much more vibrant your life can be when you truly embrace this ability. Be like that sponge, ready to soak in knowledge, insights, and experiences. Make it a point not to let any opportunity slip by unnoticed. I have a personal friend who embodies this ability remarkably well. He seems to possess an extraordinary gift for absorbing and remembering every detail of his experiences. He can tell you exactly where he was, what he did, and what he said during his teenage years. He recalls conversations word for word, shares the emotions he felt, and even describes the color of the sky on those days. He doesn't just remember the facts, he captures the essence of those moments. The reason for this is simple. He gets it. He understands the importance of being present and fully engaged in each experience. Listening to him recount his adventures is often more thrilling than actually going on those adventures myself. His vivid storytelling transports you right to those moments, and you feel as if you've lived them alongside him. His gift is remarkable because when he's somewhere, he doesn't miss a thing. He is fully immersed. Here's a powerful phrase for you to jot down. Wherever you are, be there. This means being fully present to absorb everything around you. Take mental pictures of your experiences. Let your heart and soul capture those moments. When you're engaged in life, you create a treasure trove of memories and insights that will enrich your journey. Developing the ability to truly absorb is crucial for your personal development. Don't let it go to waste. Take every chance to learn and grow. Make it a point to be curious, to ask questions, and to seek understanding in every situation. This mindset will not only enhance your knowledge, but also broaden your perspective. Remember this key lesson. Being casual can lead to missed opportunities. Casualness leads to casualties. So, approach your life with intent and purpose. Absorb everything, and you'll be amazed at how much richer your experiences will be. Embrace this ability and let it transform the way you live and learn. Second, let's talk about the ability to respond. This ability is about letting life touch you. Don't let it overwhelm or defeat you. Instead, allow it to reach you on a deeper level. Embrace the sad moments. Let them truly make you sad. Similarly, when happiness comes your way, let it fill you with joy. I'm urging you to give in to your emotions. Let them strike you powerfully, not just the words or images you encounter. Our emotions need to be educated just as much as our intellect. It's crucial to know how to feel and respond appropriately to the events around you. Allow life to come in, let it touch you. For instance, I'm the kind of person who gets deeply involved when I watch a good movie. I want it to make me laugh, to stir my heart, to frighten me, and to teach me something valuable. I want every film to elevate my spirit and lower it, to challenge my emotions and leave me changed by the end. If I walk out of the theater unchanged, then I haven't truly experienced it. I want to be touched by the story and moved by the emotions portrayed on screen. I remember one time in Australia, I came across an advertisement that said, "See Dr. Zhivago on the big screen." I had seen it a couple of times before, but this time I felt compelled to experience it in the grandeur of an old theater, complete with balconies, chandeliers, and the magic of a big screen. So I went to see Dr. Zhivago again, and as the story unfolded, I found myself swept away once more by the drama of the Russian Revolution. But this time something clicked for me. I finally understood the importance of the movie's ending. Previously, I had overlooked it while munching on popcorn, just waiting for the film to finish. But this time, I truly got it. In one powerful scene, Comrade General asks Tanya, "How did you come to be lost?" She hesitates, reluctant to reveal the deeper truth. Eventually, she shares, "While we were running through the city and it was on fire, my father let go of my hand and I was lost." That simple but profound statement struck me. The general reminds her that her real father, Dr. Zhivago, would have never let go of her hand. This time I was fully engaged. I absorbed the emotion and the meaning behind those words. It was a powerful reminder that life is about connection and presence. Let me share another story that illustrates this idea. There was an evangelist in Texas back in the days of horse and buggy who would travel from town to town setting up tents for revivals. One night, he expected a large crowd to gather but found the tent empty. Feeling discouraged, he waited and waited until finally a lone cowboy rode in, tied up his horse, and sat down on the front bench. The preacher, feeling embarrassed, approached the cowboy and expressed his frustration. The cowboy simply said, "I'm just a cowboy, not a preacher, but I know this. If I went out to feed my cattle and only one showed up, I'd still feed it." Inspired by the cowboy's wisdom, the preacher decided to give it his all, preaching as if the tent were full. He poured his heart into the message for over an hour. When he finished, he asked the cowboy what he thought of the sermon. The cowboy replied, "Nah, well, I'm not a preacher, but if I were feeding just one cow, I wouldn't dump the whole load on it." Yeah. This story teaches us the importance of adapting our responses based on the situation at hand. Sometimes, it's not just about delivering a message, it's about knowing how to touch people where they are. So far, we've covered the first two abilities in this journey of personal development. First, we explored the ability to absorb. Pay attention to everything around you. Don't miss a thing. In today's fast-paced world, the key watchword is to pay attention. The second ability is to respond. Let life touch you. Allow your emotions to affect you, just as much as the sights and sounds around you. Embrace these abilities, and you'll find that your journey in personal development will be all the more enriching. Now here's the third ability. Develop the ability to reflect. Reflect means go back over and study it again. Go back over these notes that you're taking today. Go back through the cassettes one more time. Read the text one more time. But there's more to it than that. Go back over your day. I call it and run the tapes again, so that the day locks in firmly. Here are some prime moments for reflection. First, at the end of the day, take a few minutes to review your day. Who did you see? What was said? How did you feel? Capture that day because each one is a piece of the mosaic of your life. Don't treat it casually. Instead, get value from it. Next, take a few hours at the end of the week, what I call time to reflect. Go over your calendar and appointments. Where did you go? Who did you meet? How did it feel? Reflecting on a week is essential. It's a significant chunk of time. Then, at the end of the month, dedicate half a day for reflection. Review what you read, heard, and felt. Lock in those experiences so they can serve you in the future. Finally, take a weekend at the end of the year to firmly establish the past year in your consciousness. Reflect on your growth, ensuring those experiences don't fade away. The ability to reflect is invaluable. Remember, it's about capturing the essence of your day, month, and year, those highs and lows, emotions and experiences. It's essential to lock these memories in place. Consider the ancient practice of taking a sabbatical every 10th year. After 9 years of work, that year wasn't just for rest. It was a chance to evaluate what went right and wrong. What lessons did you learn? How did you grow? This practice is powerful. Solitude is another important aspect of reflection. While reflecting with others, like spouses or colleagues, can be beneficial, there's incredible value in taking time alone. It allows you to ponder, think, and grow without distractions. For those of us living in a busy world, solitude becomes a precious opportunity. It's a time to think deeply, to pray, and to let your thoughts flow without interruption. The act of shutting out the noise is vital for effective reflection. So, why is reflection so important? It allows you to make the past valuable for your future. Instead of merely surviving, you gather insights from today to invest in tomorrow. Self-development is about becoming a more valuable person, not just in your job, but also in your relationships. You owe it to yourself and others to continuously grow. I once asked my father, approaching his 76th birthday, to consider what it means to gather the last 75 years of his life and invest them in the next year. This shift in perspective is profound. Instead of merely getting through another year, you gather and invest in those experiences. As you work on your ability to reflect, remember this process: absorb, respond, and reflect. Each step enhances your personal development, allowing you to bring more to your life and the lives of others. Here's number 4. Develop the ability to act. Take action. Not hasty if it isn't required, but don't waste much time. Here's the time to act. When the idea is hot and the emotion is strong, that's the time to act. You say, Mr. Rohn, I'd like to have a library like yours. See, if you feel strong about that, what you got to do is get the first book and then get the second book before the feeling passes and before the idea gets dim. Action pronto, action immediate, action as soon as possible. Because if you don't, here's what happens. We call it the law of diminishing intent. We intend to when the idea strikes, we intend to when the emotion is high. But now if you don't translate that into action fairly soon, the intent starts to diminish. And a month from now it's cold. A year from now cannot be found. So act. Set up a discipline when the emotions are high and the idea is strong and clear and powerful. That's the time to set up the discipline. Somebody talks about good health and you're stirred, say, right, I need to get a book on nutrition. Get the book before the idea passes and do it before the emotion gets cold. Go for the book, start the library, start the process, fall on the floor, and do some push-ups. Action, you've got to take action. Otherwise, the wisdom is wasted. Otherwise, the emotion soon passes. Unless you put it into a disciplined activity, capture it. Disciplines are called how to capture the emotion and how to capture the wisdom and translate it into equity. Disciplines. Now here's what's important about disciplines. All disciplines affect each other. Here's a good philosophical phrase. Everything affects everything else. Nothing stands alone. Don't be naive in saying, well, this doesn't matter. I'm telling you, everything matters. Some things matter more than others, but there isn't anything that doesn't matter. Okay. We all pity the man who says, well, this is the only place I let down. Not true. Key to take home. Every letdown affects the rest of your performance. Every letdown affects the rest. This is part of the educational process on personal development. If you don't take a walk around the block, you probably won't do the apple a day. If you don't do the apple a day, you probably won't start building your library. You don't build your library, you probably won't keep a journal, and you won't take pictures, and you won't do this. Won't do wise things with your money. Won't do wise things with your time. Won't do wise things with your possibilities and relationships. And the first thing you know, 6 years of that accumulated, and we say you have, messed up. So the whole key to reversing that process now is to start picking up these disciplines. Now here's the positive side. Every new discipline affects the rest of your disciplines. Every new one affects the rest. That's why action is so important. The least action, the smallest action, take it. Because when you start accomplishing and the value starts to return from that one action, it'll inspire you to do the next one, and the next one, and the next one. You start walking around the block, it'll inspire you to get an apple. Get an apple, it'll inspire you to get a book. Get a book. It'll inspire you to get a journal. Get a journal. It'll inspire you to grow, develop some skills. All disciplines affect each other. Every lack affects the rest. Every new affects the rest. The key is to diminish the lack and set up the new, and you've started a whole new life process. Key. Also, one more thought on discipline. Here's the greatest value of discipline: self-worth, self-esteem. People are teaching self-esteem these days, but they don't connect it to disciplines. The least lack of discipline and starts to erode our psyche. One of the greatest temptations is to just ease up a little bit, right? The slightest lack of doing your best starts to erode the psyche. Instead of doing your best, do just a little less than your best. Sure enough, you say, well, it's just going to affect my sales. No, it's going to affect your consciousness. It's going to affect your philosophy. Now you've begun in the slightest way to affect your philosophy. Here's the problem with the least neglect. Neglect starts as an infection. And if you don't take care of it, it becomes a disease. And one neglect leads to another. And the worst of all, when neglect starts, it diminishes our self-worth, our self-confidence, and our self-value. You say, well, how can I get back my self-respect? I'm telling you, you don't have to go to 29 classes. All you have to do is start the smallest discipline that now corresponds to your philosophy, like I should, and I could, and I will. No longer will I let neglect stack up on me so that I will have the sorry scenario 6 years from now, giving some excuse instead of celebrating my progress. That's the key to discipline. Okay? Let's get kids involved in the least of disciplines. One more, and then one more, and then another one, and then another one, and then some more. And the first thing you know, you're starting to weave the tapestry of a disciplined life into which you can pour more wisdom, more attitude, and more strong feeling, more faith, and more courage. Now you've got something, a vessel in which to put it. And now the equities start to flow. And the early return, I'm telling you, if you start this process, the early return will have you so excited, you'll commit yourself to this strategy for the rest of your life. You'll never go back to the old ways. Join a new crowd, join a new group, the disciplines to do it, and take action. I recommended the last time I was here the little book, The Richest Man in Babylon, and I said I've lectured now to over 3 million people in the last 33 years. And I've recommended this little book to almost all of them, I think. Guess how many have gone and got this little book? Answer: very few. My best guess is 10%. Such an easy thing to do. In that last seminar, right? I suggested this little book. Number 1, it's easy to find. Number 2, it's easy to buy. The most you can pay for it is $6, $7, or $8. You can borrow that from your kids. And number 3, it's easy to read. It's in story form. That's why I use it for teenagers, teaching them how to be rich by 40, 35 if you're extra bright, much sooner if you find a unique opportunity. But if it's easy to find and easy to buy, and if it's easy to read, why wouldn't everybody go get it? We don't know. What do you know you don't know? I don't know. Nobody knows. Here's how profound it is. Some do and some don't. Now here are the numbers. About 10% do. 90% don't or won't. We don't know the mystery of that. And I'm telling you, 10 years from now, those numbers will still be the same. 10% will, 90% won't. The numbers don't change, only the faces change. You're looking at one of the faces. I used to belong to the 90% who couldn't be bothered even if it was easy. Guess how many people have a library card? Wisdom of the world is available. Transform your life in any valuable amount you want. By the way, how much is a library card in Texas? Free. Here's what free is. Easy. I mean, it can't be any easier than free. Somebody says, well, would you bring it by? Well, no. At least you've got to go get it. No. Wisdom of the world is available to transform your life spiritually, socially, personally, economically, and in every other way. Teach you how to be rich and powerful and sophisticated and healthy, influential. How many people have a library card? Answer: 3%. The other 97% couldn't be bothered. Guys specialize in happy hour, but he doesn't have a card. And now readily and quickly blames the government, his company, and blames policy and the pay scale. When, if he only knew, if he joined the 3%. Here's my advice to you today. Walk away from the 97%. Don't talk like they talk. Don't act like they act. Don't go where they go. Don't specialize in what they specialize in. Throw away the blame list they cling to and start a new life. You say, well, is it as simple as getting a library card and joining the 3%? And the answer is, of course. That's how easy this stuff is. This is so easy. It's so simple. It's not complex. You don't need a 2,000-year-old guru. You don't need multi-track affirmations. I'm telling you, you don't. Affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. Key: don't let somebody sweep you into some contrary way to nature itself. Says, unless you labor the miracle of the seed and the soil and the seasons and God, all the other available stuff, sunshine and rain, that's not available to you by affirmation. It is only available to you by labor. So labor well, okay? Learn well, discipline yourself well, and you can have all the treasures you want. This stuff's easy and simple. It's not ocean waves and seagulls. You don't have to move to Sedona, where all the force fields come together in Arizona. Let's teach our kids the simple ways to transform their health. Number 1, their economics. Number 2, their ability to communicate. Number 3, their life and treasure and lifestyle. Number 4, spirituality. Number 5, and the list goes on and on. Let's not leave out any of the least of disciplines that encourage us to do the next one, to do the next one, to do the next one. And the first thing you know, this whole scenario for you is spinning up. Instead of out of control on the negative side, this is all you got to do. It's as simple as this. It's as simple as a start, committing yourself to life change. And once you start down this road, I promise you, you'll join the 10% and the 3%. We're going to talk about financial independence in just a little while. Guess how many people can retire from the income of their personal resources when it comes time to retire? Answer: 5%. In the most independent countries in the world, 95% are dependent and 5% are independent. Take charge of your retirement. I'm telling you, if you take charge of your retirement through personal development and all these skills we've taught today, plus what's coming up, financial independence, I'm telling you, if take charge of your retirement, you can multiply it at least by 5, maybe by 10, maybe 20, maybe by 100. Let the government take care of it. Some companies take care of it. You've got to divide by 5. Take charge of your own life. Take charge of your day. Take charge of your conversation. Take charge of your own family. Take charge of your possibilities. Learn these skills, develop this kind of strategy, and I'm telling you, life will open up for you. Join the 3%. Join the 10%. Join the 5%. Walk away from the 95%. In our leadership weekend, we teach, find out what poor people read and don't read it. I'm telling you, don't talk like they talk, lend a helping hand, but don't fall into their poor philosophical scenario. Don't blame what they blame. Don't use the excuses they use. It's called the language of the poor. Switch gears, switch language, switch ideas, switch strategy, and start with the simplest of disciplines. And don't mean any of these disciplines. The smallest of disciplines starts the process of life change. And if you invest in this thing called discipline, you can have whatever you wish. It's called the beginning of a miracle. Now here's the last clue on discipline. Do the best you can. We covered earlier, but here's a good scenario for the do the best you can. I've got a good question for you. Is the best you can do all you can do? The answer is no. Strangely enough, if we all fell on the floor right now and did as many push-ups as we possibly could, and let's say for some reason you haven't been into push-ups lately, I can't imagine why, but let's say the best you can do is 5, and you look up at the rest of us and say, hey, 5 is the best I can do. We can tell by the look on your face that's probably true. 5 is the best you can do. Now, is 5 all you can do? The answer is no. If you rest a little, you can do 5 more. Wow! And if you rest a little, you can do 5 more. And if you rest a little, you can do 15 more. How do we get from 5 to 15? It's a miracle. And if you rest a little, you can do 15. Rest a little and you can do 15. Rest a little and you can do 20. How did you get from 5 to 20? It's a miracle. Did you know you can keep doing that? Do a little more, rest a little, do a little more, rest a little, and finally get up to 50 push-ups. Is it possible to get up to 50 push-ups? Of course. How do you go from 5 to 50? It's a miracle. How do you get a miracle going? Number 1, do what you can. Don't leave out what you can. From writing a letter to your mother in Florida, start cleaning it all up. to doing the push-ups. Go from 5 to 50. It's a miracle. Number 1, do what you can. Number 2, do the best you can. Here's number 3, rest very little. Don't rest for too long. Why? The weeds take the garden. Kids have got that figured out. You can't rest too long. Here's the clue. Make rest a necessity, not an objective. The objective of life is not to rest. The objective of life is to act. Think of more disciplines. Think of more ways and means in which to use your wisdom and your philosophy. And use your attitude, your faith, your courage, your commitment, your desires, your excitement. Invest it in discipline so that it's not wasted. The smallest of disciplines, and thereby transform your life. Join the 5%, join the 10%, join the 3%. Guess when I went and got this little book, The Richest Man in Babylon? The same day I heard about it. I went and got it. Somebody says, well, Mr. Rohn, does that make you different than most other people? The answer is yes. Somebody says, well, why is that? We don't know. We don't know. What do you know? You don't know. I don't know. None of us knows. Some do, and some don't. The numbers don't change. Only the faces change from those who get in on a seminar like this, listen to a dynamic sermon, read a book, listen to some cassettes, take seriously the next conversation of a friend who wants to level with you and do something about it, and you could walk away from the 97% and not live there anymore. Because if you don't, the next 6 years of your life will be like the last 6. Mr. Schoaf said to me, Mr. Rohn, 6 years now you've been working. I'm telling you, the next 6 years, your life is going to be like the last 6 unless you take advantage and start making these personal changes. I made the changes and totally revolutionized my life. So take a look at the next 5 years of your life. It's going to be like the last 5 unless you change. And if you will change, everything will change. Join the 5%. 10 years from now, the numbers are going to be the same, but I'm telling you, some faces in this audience can change and start showing up in the 3% crowd, the 5% crowd, and the 10% crowd, and thereby dynamically affect your life and your future. Develop these strengths. Now here's the last ability. Develop the ability to share. Sharing is vital. When you come across a good idea today, pass it on. Don't keep it to yourself, share it. If you read a book that resonates with you, let others know. Say Kishore says, I found this book that truly helped me, or this book changed my perspective on health. Share the inspiration and insights you gain. What's thrilling about sharing? When you share with 10 people, they each hear your idea once, but you get to hear it 10 times. So, the benefits come back to you, often more than to them. It's a win-win situation. Everybody wins when you share. When you share your ideas, experiences, and knowledge, you can find as much joy in the act as I do in giving this seminar. This is one of my greatest pleasures. I invest my words, spirit, heart, soul, and energy into sharing. I could choose to work less hard, but I do it willingly because I want to connect. Your words touch my life in a profound way that money can't buy. By recommending a book, you can spark someone's journey. They may come back to you one day and say, "You got me started. That book you suggested changed everything for me." You can receive as much recognition as I do when you share with others, your children, colleagues, and anyone who crosses your path. Sharing not only benefits you, it helps those you share with. Moreover, it makes you bigger than you were before. Imagine a full glass of water. Can it hold more? Yes, but only if you pour some out first. I'm asking you to do just that. If you're filled with ideas and good things, pour them out. The more you share, the more you'll find coming back in. As you share, you grow. Unlike a glass, you can expand in consciousness and awareness. Human capacity is limitless. Children can learn, they often lack teachers. In Europe, kids learn multiple languages easily, while many of us miss that opportunity because our parents didn't value those languages. Now think about how many languages a child can learn. The answer is as many as you're willing to teach. Kids are not short on capacity. They simply need guidance. The same goes for you. Your capacity is vast, and sharing what you have expands it. When you share, your consciousness grows. I often remind myself that sharing this knowledge is just as important for me as it is for you. Someone once asked how I managed to keep up with everything I teach. I said, "It's easier to talk about than to practice. I'm working on it just like you." Pouring out what you have leads to growth. Why is growing your capacity important? For a very self-serving reason: to hold more from future experiences. Some people in this audience will gain more than others. If you haven't been actively expanding your capacity lately, you might not get much from this seminar. However, if you've been sharing and growing, this moment holds tremendous potential for you. Some may struggle to find happiness despite all the good around them. Why? They might not be big enough in understanding, appreciation, or capacity to receive. Prosperity may flow everywhere, but those with limited thinking can miss out. Don't be one of them. Others may not receive anything because they've turned their cups upside down. They can't take anything in. Learn to share. It's a glorious experience that enriches both you and others. In summary, the journey of personal development encompasses 5 essential possibilities that can transform your life. First, the ability to absorb encourages you to be present and learn from every experience, shaping your perspective. Second, reflecting regularly helps you gain insights and clarity, guiding your growth over time. Third, sharing not only amplifies your understanding, but also spreads knowledge, fostering a supportive community. Fourth, embracing change allows you to adapt and thrive, ensuring you remain open to new opportunities. Finally, cultivating gratitude enhances your overall well-being, enabling you to appreciate the journey and the people in your life. By integrating these 5 possibilities into your daily routine, you empower yourself to create a fulfilling and purposeful life. Embrace the process, take consistent action, and remember that growth is a continuous journey, one that can lead to remarkable transformations and endless possibilities.